Show that f of x is equal to x square is Riemann integrable over the closed interval 0, 1. Okay, this is an important problem. Now we are dividing this 0, 1 interval into n equal parts. Okay, so we are taking, for n equal parts, we are taking the length of that subintervals as b minus a by n. Okay, so what will be b minus a by n? This is a, this is b. That means b minus a by n will be 1 minus 0 divided by n. That is nothing but 1 by n. So I will take it to be delta r. Okay. Now I'll consider a partition, or I'm creating a partition now, that is 0, 1 by n, 2 by n, etc. In middle I'll take some number to be r by n. So previous number will be r minus 1 by n. This is increasing by 1, right? Numerator is increasing by 1. That means the previous number will be minus 1. R minus 1 gives you the previous value. Now next etc. it goes on until it becomes n by n. Okay, what is n by n? N by n is nothing but 1, right? It gets cancelled. So it is 1 by n, 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3, anything. Same number this is. Okay, so this was 10 by 10. That means it is equal to 1. That I have written here. Don't get confused why this equal to came here. Okay, be any partition of the closed interval 0, 1. So we are taking one partition. Now we are taking small mr to be infimum and capital mr to be supremum of this given function over IR. IR is an interval. So this interval I am considering it to be r minus 1 by n, r by n. So from this partition I am considering this interval, subinterval. Okay, that is r minus 1 by n, r by n. So for an increasing function, left end point is infimum and right end point is supremum. Say we have a function like this. So now this left end point will be infimum, right end point will be supremum. Now infimum I am taking it to be function of r minus 1 by n. So this is the least point here, this is the greatest point here. So I'll take r minus 1 as a function. So I'll get r minus 1 by n the whole square, because what is our question? If f of x is nothing but x square. So in the place of x we have taken r minus 1 by n. So it will be x square, r minus 1 by n the whole square. So for supremum I am taking f of r by n. So x is r by n. So here f of x is equal to x square will become f of r by n is equal to r by n the whole square. Clear? So now we have denominator is n square. Square is n square into n is n cube, right? So here we are having the summation for r is equal to 1 to n. R is changing, so n is not changing. So we can bring it as a constant outside. So we have 1 by n cube sigma r is equal to 1 to n r minus 1 by n the r minus 1 the whole square. Already we took all the n outside, right? So we have sigma r is equal to 1 r is equal to 1 to n r minus 1 the whole square. Okay, now we will write r minus 1 the whole square as a minus 1 the whole square. So a minus b the whole square is nothing but a square minus 2ab 2r plus b square, right? Now split this summation to each of it. So we will get it to be 1 by n cube into sigma r is equal to 1 to n r square minus 2 is a constant, I can keep it outside, r is equal to 1 to n r plus sigma r is equal to 1 to n 1. Okay, so now we have a formula for sigma r is equal to 1 to n square, sigma n square, sigma n, yes, sigma 1. We have the formulas, remember? So according to that formula we have summation sigma r is equal to 1 to n r square, that is n square formula. We have it is n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 divided by 6 and minus 2 into sigma r is equal to 1 to n sigma r, that is sigma n is equal to, can be written as n into n plus 1 divided by 2. Okay, and plus this is 1, you are getting it as n according to the formula. N square formula is this, n formula is this, 1 formula is this. Okay, so since r is tending from 1 to n, we are using n here instead of r. Okay, now simplify this. So simplifying, what do we get? We have, we'll keep 1 by n cube outside itself. We have n into 1 plus 1 by n. If I take n common outside from this, what does this become? 1 plus 1 by n. Again, I am taking n common outside from this one also. What do I get? I get 2 plus 1 by n whole divided by 6 plus n. Same thing, I am retaining this plus n. Next, for this term, I am writing it to be minus 2 into, I can take 1n is already there, 1n common outside from this. What do I get? 1 plus 1 by n. I'm taking n common outside from this, I'll get 1, n is taken out, plus from this if I take n common outside, it will become 1 by n. I'm taking n common outside, I'll get, okay, I'm taking n common outside from this one, I'll get 2 plus 1 by n. Again here n common outside, I'll get this. Okay, now this is equal to, now we are multiplying all these n's together, we get n cube into 1 plus 1 by n into 2 plus 1 by n, plus we are having Rn. Take the LCM for these two also. We are having denominator 6 here, no, into 6. So we have 6n divided by, okay, so that term here 6n divided by 6 it became now. Okay, minus, again I'll take the LCM, this becomes 3 2s are 6, n square into 1 plus 1 by n whole divided by 6. That is, take the LCM, multiply everything what is there, n's together, and we get this step. Okay, you have to solve and see. Okay, and we have 1 plus 1 by n, multiply this 1 by n square inside, so n 1 by n cube inside, n cube gets cancelled, your remaining term will be this. Again you have 6n square, 6n divided by n cube, so 1 n gets cancelled, you'll get 6 by n square minus 6 n square gets cancelled, 1 n will be remaining in the denominator, so you get 6 by n, remaining is this whole divided by 6. Yes, we took the LCM, right? Now L of f according to the definition and the question, we get this integral 0 to 1. Now we have already found L of f, right? So that we can L of p of f, that is L of pf, we have already found. We are substituting that here, 1 plus 1 by n into 2 plus 1 by n plus 6 by n square minus 6 by n into 1 plus 1 by n. Okay, now whole divided by 6, right? Now I am implementing limit n tends to infinity. That is what is another formula for L of f, right? So now after applying n tends to infinity, this becomes 0, this becomes 0. So remaining is 1 into 2, here 0, 0. So now we will be having 1 into 2 divided by 6, which is nothing but 1 by 3. Now we are finding UPF, that is nothing but sigma r is equal to 1 to n mr delta r, right? So now sigma r is equal to 1 to n, what is mr value? We are substituting here, delta r value we are substituting, simplify. 1 by n doesn't come under this r is equal to 1 to n, r is only changing. So we are taking 1 by n cube common outside, okay? That is, we can remove it out of this summation. Now we have 1 by n cube into, now applying the summation for r square, that is sigma n square formula, we have n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 whole divided by 6. Okay, so now simplify 1 by n cube into n square plus n is into 2n plus 1 whole divided by 6. Again simplify. Okay, now if I apply limit for this function, I should not get completely 0. So in order to do that, I can take common outside. Say here from this, if I take n common outside, what happens? Okay, so before multiplying this, it would be easy for us. This n was already here. We had only one n and plus 1 this was, right? So if I take n common outside from this one, what happens? It will be n into 1 plus 1 by n. So we can save one number here which doesn't become 0. Again, if I take n common outside from this one, what happens? Okay, I took n common outside from this one. I'll be remaining with 2 plus 1 by n whole divided by 6. So it is 1 by n cube into, right? So now we have 1 by n outside and we are bring 1 by n cube outside. We'll bring this inside. So what happens? If I'm getting this inside, what happens? It is, I have n cube here, n into n into n. So n cube by n cube into 1 plus 1, okay, 2 plus 1 by n whole divided by 6. N cube gets cancelled. Remaining is 1 plus 1 by n into 2 plus 1 by n into whole divided by 6. That is UPF. Now we have to find UF. So what is the formula? UF is nothing but integral 0 to 1 x square dx. So it's nothing but infimum of UPF such that P belongs to P of A comma B. Now limit n tends to infinity. We have this UPF already found out. We will substitute that. 1 plus 1 by n into 2 plus 1 by n whole divided by 6. Apply the limit. What happens? This term and this term becomes 0. You will be remaining with 1 into 2 divided by 6, which is nothing but 1 by 3, right? 2 by 6 is 1 by 3. Now compare UF and LF. So what was LF? How was LF related to UF? LF is equal to UF. So what is your conclusion when LF is equal to UF, which is nothing but 1 by 3? We can say that therefore F is Riemann integrable over 0, 1. So we can write 0, this is LF x square dx is equal to UF x square dx is equal to integral 0 to 1 x square dx, that is, it is completely integrable. Therefore F is Riemann integrable over the given interval 0, 1. Let's get into our next question. Show that f of x is equal to minus 1 when x is rational and plus 1 when x is irrational. Okay, now for all the condition is x is belonging to the closed interval a comma b, and this is not Riemann integrable. That means f of x is equal to minus 1 or plus 1 when x is rational and irrational. We have to show that this function f of x is not Riemann integrable. Okay, so I'm considering a partition P which is x0, x1, x2, etc. up to xr minus 1, xr, comma, etc. up to xn. This is a partition I'm considering, and this is a partition of f over the function a comma b. Okay, this is my subinterval IR. It's nothing, I'm taking this subinterval, some interval which is there in between. Okay, so xr minus 1 comma xr is my subinterval which I am considering. I am taking mr, that is infimum to be minus 1 and supremum to be plus 1. Okay, and LPF formula is sigma r is equal to 1 to n mr delta r, right? So now mr value is minus 1, delta r is nothing but the length of the subinterval. So length of the subinterval formula is b minus a. Here since it is all generalized, we can take it to be the formula itself b minus a. Here again UPF is nothing but sigma r is equal to 1 to n mr delta r is equal to mr is nothing but 1. So 1 into delta r is nothing but the length of the subinterval. The formula is b minus a. Clear? Now in order to find L of f, we have supremum of LPF. So we already found that, which is that this one. So substitute that minus 1 into b minus a. So this is nothing but limit n tends to infinity of this one, right? Now since we don't have n here, we can retain this as it is, minus 1 into b minus a. Okay. So now UPF, U of f. So what is U of f? Infimum of UPF such that P belongs to P of a comma b. Now again limit n tends to infinity. We already have UPF value found out. What is that? 1 into b minus a. It's nothing but b minus a. We don't have n here to substitute the limit. So we will write it as b minus a. Now therefore we can say L of f is not equal to U of f. So what is the conclusion? Therefore the function f which is given is not a Riemann integrable over a comma b. Is not Riemann integrable over a comma b. Show that f of x is equal to x for all x belongs to 0, 1 is Riemann integrable, and we have to show that integral 0 to 1 f of x dx is equal to 1 by 2. That means the answer of this problem is 1 by 2, that's all. Okay, so you have already confirmed with the answer. So once you try, you can cross check the answer. If it is 1 by 2, it is 1 by 2 because it is Riemann integrable and the value is 1 by 2. That is what is meant by this question. So I am considering this partition P is equal to x0, x1, etc., xr minus 1, xr, etc. up to xn. Okay. Similarly, I am taking one more partition P is equal to 0, 1 by n, 2 by n, 3 by n, etc. r minus 1 by n, r by n, etc. up to 1 by n. Okay. So now I consider two partitions over the closed interval 0, 1. Now I am considering one subinterval r minus 1 by n and r by n from the second partition. Okay, this was the middle terms, some terms which we took in the middle of the partition. Okay, the previous partition. Okay, let's check out the partition once for your understanding. So from this partition, I am taking this middle term, this middle two terms as one single subinterval. Okay, so here you don't have to mention this brackets. It's just comma, comma. Okay, don't take it here. This brackets has to be mentioned only for the subinterval here. It represents this is a closed interval. So MR, we are taking it to be the least value. This MR is the greatest value, infimum and supremum. Now length of the interval can be found out using the formula b minus a, right? So b is r minus r by n minus a is r minus 1 by n. Simplify, minus is substituted inside, plus into minus minus, minus into minus plus. So we have r minus r plus 1 divided by n. Here r and r gets cancelled and you're remaining with 1 by n. Okay, so now let's find out what is LPF. So LPF is nothing but sigma r is equal to 1 to n mr delta r. So infimum and the length of the subinterval. So we are substituting the values of mr. What is mr? Small mr is minus r minus 1 by n into delta r is 1 by n. Simplify, we get sigma n is equal, r is equal to 1 to n. R minus 1 into 1 is 1, n into n is n square. Now r is changing, n is not changing. So what can we do? We can take this n outside and remaining is r is equal to 1 to n, r minus 1. So what is r values? R is tending from 1 to n, r minus 1. Okay, now let us split this summation. What do we get? So 1 by n square into sigma r is equal to 1 to n r minus sigma r is equal to 1 to n 1. Okay, so now simplify this. So after simplification, what do we get? So we have, after simplification, 1 by n square into summation of r, that is summation of n if you take, that is n into n plus 1 by 2, minus, if it is 1, it is considered as summation of 1 is n. Okay, so now we have 1 by n square, n into n plus 1. Here we can take n. Okay, we will multiply this. If we multiply this, we get n square plus. So here, okay, we will write it down. N square plus n minus n divided by, okay, this was cross multiplication, LCM, divided by 2. So we have 2 minus 2 plus 1 is minus 1. So 1 by n square minus n divided by 2. Can I take n common outside from this? Yes, right? So we can take n common outside. Remaining is n minus 1 whole divided by 2. I'll take one more n common outside from these two. So what do we get? We have 1 by n square into n into n. So this becomes 1 minus 1 by n whole divided by 2. So now this n and this n square gets cancelled, and you're remaining with 1 minus 1 by n whole divided by 2. Okay, so this we will keep it as our LPF. Okay, PF is equal to, UPF is equal to sigma r is equal to 1 to n r by n squared. Okay, into, okay, check this out. What was our MR? It was r by n. What was our delta r? It is 1 by n. So r by n into 1 by n gives you r by n square, right? So directly I am writing that r by n square. Okay, after applying the formula. So now 1 by n square doesn't come under the summation limit, so we can keep this aside. Now we have this. Now summation of r is nothing but n into n plus 1 by 2. So 1 by n square, n into n plus 1 by 2. Taking n common outside from this, we have 1 by n square into n 1 plus 1 by n whole divided by 2. So n square gets cancelled and you're remaining with 1 plus 1 by n whole divided by 2, which is our UPF. Okay, so now in order to find LF, what is our formula? It is supremum of LPF such that P belongs to P of A comma B. So here A comma B is 0 comma 1. Okay, so now we have substituting the values of LPF. What was the value of LPF? It was 1 minus 1 by n whole divided by 2. So we are applying the limit n tends to infinity. What do you get? We get, this becomes 0, it is 1 by 2. Now let's check out for UPF. So what is the value of, UF? That is infimum of UPF such that P belongs to P of 0 comma 1. We have UF is equal to limit n tends to infinity. 1 plus 1 by n was UPF value, right? 1 plus 1 by n whole divided by 2. Now applying the limits, what do you get? This becomes 0. That means we have 1 by 2. So what is the value of UPF and LPF? UF and LF. UF is 1 by 2, LF is 1 by 2. That means what is the conclusion? Our conclusion is LF is equal to UF and is equal to 1 by 2. Yes, we had to prove that, right? We had to prove. What is the conclusion? From this conclusion, what can you say? F is Riemann integrable over 0 comma 1. Therefore, what can you say? We can say that integral 0 to 1 f of x dx is equal to 1 by 2. So hence we have showed, right? That is integral 0 to 1 f of x dx is equal to 1 by 2, as well as the function f is Riemann integrable over 0 comma 1.
Thank you.